The rain began just as I stepped out of the cafe. It was evening, and the city lights looked blurred through the falling water. I pulled my coat tight around me and started to run toward the bus stop. My shoes splashed in small puddles, and the cold drops touched my face like tiny needles. I looked at my watch, 9 to 17 p.m. The last bus home left at 9:20. I could still make it. I crossed the narrow street, my bag bumping against my side, my breath fast. When I finally saw the bus stop, my heart sank. The digital board flashed red letters. Bus 42 departed. I stopped running. My shoulders dropped. The rain kept falling harder, as if it wanted to remind me that I was late. Again. There were only a few people left at the stop. Most had already found shelter or gone home. I walked under the small roof and stood near the edge, watching the wet street glow under the yellow lamps. That was when I noticed an old man sitting quietly on the bench. He wore a long brown coat, a dark hat, and held a small wooden box in his hands. Water dripped from the edge of the shelter onto his shoes, but he didn't seem to care. He looked up at me and smiled, the kind of smile that feels soft and kind. "Missed it too?" he asked. "Yes," I said, brushing rain from my hair. "The last one." He nodded slowly. "Sometimes missing one bus is not such a bad thing." I gave a small laugh. "It feels bad right now." He chuckled quietly, eyes on the empty street. "You'll see." For a few moments, neither of us spoke. The rain made its own music, 1,000 tiny notes hitting the metal roof above us. Then he opened the box on his lap. Inside was a small silver locket. It looked old but carefully polished, shining even in the weak light. He held it gently, like it was something alive. "My wife," he said softly. "She loved the rain. Today is her birthday." I looked at him. His voice trembled a little. "She passed away last year," he continued. "I was going to leave this by the lake where we used to sit. But the rain started, and I thought I'd wait." I didn't know what to say. The world outside the shelter felt far away now. Only the sound of the rain, the smell of wet dust, and his trembling hands holding that locket. "She told me once," he said, "that whenever it rains, she will come back in the sound of it." I still listen. His words touched something deep inside me. I had been rushing all day, to work, to home, to catch this bus, and suddenly everything slowed down. We sat together in silence for a while. Then, from the far end of the street, headlights appeared. "Another bus?" I checked the board. "Bus 42, next in 45 minutes." So no, not ours. It was just a city cleaning truck moving slowly through the water. The old man smiled. "You see, the world makes you wait so you can notice little things." I smiled back. "Maybe, but it's a long wait." He looked up at the sky, eyes calm. "Good things take time." Just then, thunder rolled somewhere behind the clouds. I pulled my coat tighter. "I should call home," I said. He nodded. "Of course." I took out my phone, but there was no signal. Typical, the rain always killed it here. I sighed, putting it back. "Tell me," he said, "why are you in such a hurry tonight?" I thought for a second. Honestly, I just wanted to go home. My dad and sister are waiting for dinner. "I hate being late." He smiled kindly. "Family, that's good. Always go home to them. That's where peace lives." His words were simple, but they felt like something bigger, something I had forgotten. A gust of wind blew rain under the roof. I stepped closer to the bench. "Do you live near here?" I asked. He nodded toward the other side of the street. "2 blocks down. The little white house with the red window." "I think I've seen it," I said. "With the jasmine plants?" He smiled again. "Yes, my wife planted them. They still bloom every spring." The way he said "my wife," with love, not pain, made my throat tighten. I looked out at the road again. Water flowed down the gutter like a small river. The city smelled of rain and quiet memories. After a few minutes, the rain softened. The old man looked up. "She must be done talking," he said with a little laugh. I laughed too. "Maybe she said everything she needed?" He nodded. "Maybe she told me to go home now." He closed the box, then looked at me. Keep the bench warm, will you? Of course, I said. He stood slowly, his knees stiff, then placed the box carefully on the bench beside me. If someone ever misses their bus, maybe they'll find her story here. Before I could answer, he stepped into the streetlight. His shadow stretched long behind him as he crossed the road and disappeared into the misty lane. I looked down at the box. The locket inside caught a drop of water from the roof and sparkled. I felt something gentle inside me, like the rain had washed a little sadness away. The night felt different now. Not lonely, but alive. I wasn't just waiting anymore. I was part of the waiting. Somewhere far away, a bus horn echoed through the wet streets. I didn't know it yet, but that sound would start the strangest hour of my life. The rain was still falling when I sat alone at the bus stop. The old man with the brown coat had already left, leaving his small wooden box beside me. Inside it was the silver locket, his wife's picture smiling softly inside. I touched it carefully. It felt warm, almost alive. Another 30 minutes passed. The streets were quiet now, only the sound of the rain and the soft hum of a distant car. When the next bus finally appeared, its yellow lights cut through the fog like hope. I picked up the box and stepped inside. The driver smiled. Long night? He asked. Yeah, I said, but worth it. I sat near the window. The glass was cold, but my heart felt light. As the bus moved through the wet streets, I looked back, and for just a moment, I saw the old man standing near the bench again, his hat shining under the streetlight, waving. I blinked. He was gone. Only the empty bench remained. Maybe it was the reflection, maybe not. But I smiled. I opened the locket one more time, and the tiny photo seemed to glow faintly in the passing light. That night, I understood something. Sometimes missing one bus is not bad luck. It's life's quiet way of making us stop, listen to the rain, and remember what truly matters. When I reached home, my father opened the door. You're late, he said. I smiled and hugged him. I know, Dad, but this time, it feels right. The rain hadn't stopped since evening. The streets of Riverdale were almost empty, only the soft sound of water running down the gutters. My umbrella was broken, so I stood under the small metal roof of the old bus stop, holding my jacket close. The last bus to Maple Street was already 15 minutes late. I checked my phone. No signal. The yellow streetlight above me flickered every few seconds, painting everything golden gray. Somewhere far away, thunder rolled. A man walked up slowly. He wore a brown coat and a wet hat and carried a small wooden box. He smiled politely. Still waiting for the late bus? He asked. Yes, I said. I think it forgot us. He chuckled softly. This bus never forgets. It just comes when you've stopped expecting it. We both laughed a little. His voice was gentle, calm, almost comforting. For a few minutes, we just listened to the rain. Then he sat on the bench, placed the box beside him, and said quietly, I used to wait here every Friday with my wife. She loved this sound, rain on the roof, said it made the world feel slower. I smiled. That sounds nice. He nodded, eyes lost in the rain. She passed away last winter, but I still come. Old habits don't die easily. The wind grew colder. I could see his hands trembling slightly. Are you all right? I asked. He nodded, smiling again. Oh yes, I'm fine. I just wanted to see her off one last time. Before I could ask what he meant, the bus headlights appeared far down the street. He stood up slowly, picked up the box, and turned to me. You take care, young lady, he said. And remember, sometimes being late means being right on time. Then he stepped toward the bus as it stopped. But when I blinked, he wasn't there. Only the small wooden box sat on the bench, drops of rain rolling off its smooth surface. I called out, Sir, you forgot your box? But the bus doors closed, and when I ran forward, the bus was gone, disappearing into the mist like a dream. I stood there, confused, breathing hard. The box felt heavier than it looked. I opened it carefully. Inside was a silver locket with an old black and white photo, a young woman smiling beside the same man. They looked happy. Under the photo, on a small piece of folded paper, it said, "If you find this, please return it to the old house on Willow Street. Thank you." My heart felt strange. I didn't know the man's name, but I knew I couldn't just leave it there. The next morning, the rain had stopped. The world smelled fresh, like new beginnings. I took the box and walked to Willow Street. It was a quiet lane filled with trees and old houses. Number 14 stood at the end, white paint peeling, windows closed, but a small garden still full of flowers. I knocked gently. An old lady opened the door, her eyes tired but kind. "Can I help you, dear?" she asked. I held out the box. "I think this belongs to you.